Today I want to talk to you about decking the surface of the block. It's very important that we resurface the deck. I've been getting some questions about the BHJ fixture. I did a video where we set that up, but I wasn't as thorough as I should have been, obviously from the comments that I'm getting, and so what I've done is I've decided to make another video where I explain that fixture more thoroughly because there's people that want to know about it. This is an example of what I'm talking about. This is a big block Chevrolet that we just bored. Now this is going to be definitely a high performance engine. We're putting aluminum World Products Merlin heads on it, air gap intake, it's getting all ARP hardware. It's going to have a solid roller cam. We're getting everything performance balanced. I'm working on the connecting rods right now, so we got a lot of this stuff that's starting to come together for this motor. And believe it or not, this is for a customer that wants to beat his brother-in-law who has an all-aluminum 427 in his Camaro. So he's building up his 69. So we definitely want a square deck. If you can see, we've decked the surface. And what square decking does is it makes this surface here of the block exactly 90 degrees to the center line of the crankshaft. And that's imperative on any performance engine. But it's also a good idea. We got a small block Ford crank here that we just polished. This is for a friend of mine. That's another big block in the background there for somebody else. This is just a small block Ford 5.0 crank that we polished, and we have the cylinder block up over here on the machine with the BHJ fixture. Now the way that this fixture works is it has a couple of cones that go in here, and if you look on this end you can actually see the cone that goes into the cam tunnel. It ties it together, and of course we have some centering rings that go in the mains, and we have a bar that centers us and puts us exactly true to the center line of the crankshaft. The unique part about this fixture is, number one, it's very accurate, and it's greatly easy to set up. It's a piece of cake. So once you get this set up, what we've done is we've tied the center line of the cam to the center line of the crank, and our plate here, the beauty of this is this edge of this plate here is exactly 90 degrees to the center line of this shaft. So if I take my indicator, this is what we do, we take a dial indicator and we set it up on our tooling here. We have a cutting head here where we're going to actually cut the surface of this block. We set up our indicator here, and we just dial this in all the way across so that this surface here is exactly square to the cutting teeth here. The only interesting part about that is many times when you have a factory block, if you square this up to the center line, when you start cutting the deck of the surface, sometimes it will only cut halfway across, which means that from the factory they didn't get the deck of this block 90 degrees to the center line. It's off one way or the other. These things are manufactured on an assembly line. I've seen them as much as 25 or 30 thousandths out. That's quite a few degrees off of 90 degrees. And so it's a good idea to get your block resurfaced or decked, even if you're not doing a 13.5 to 1 monster big block like you saw back there. This is just a standard 5-liter V8. Just going to be a mild street rod type motor, nothing fancy. It does have forged pistons and a roller cam, but I mean it's not super radical. This motor will probably be right around 300 horsepower. So we're not talking about super high numbers, but it is important that you deck the block. We picked no warpage at all on this block. We put a straight edge here. We got no warpage, but we still wanted to set it up. Now I did take an initial cut. I went in about this far, and you can see that this one's pretty good because it looks like it's cleaning up all the way across. Another thing that you'll find is even if you pick up no warpage, you'll find low and high spots. In other words, you'll actually see waves start to appear. This tooling will run across here, and it'll get to an area about this wide, and it won't touch the block, and then it'll start hitting again over here, and you'll see waves of low and high spots That's why I take this marker so I can see where the material's coming off. It's just easier for me. So my recommendation is, if you're going to build an engine, you're going to all the trouble to get the block vatted and bored and the alignment done if necessary. Go ahead and just have them set it up and surface this. It's not that much. It's about $120 more on top of the initial build price, which in terms of building a motor is really not that much. So this is the BHJ fixture. It's a great fixture, and I recommend you doing this under any circumstances. And what you need to do is you need to find